We as humans are fallible. We are weak, prone to injury, and more often than not, emotionally vulnerable. Yet despite this, we make efforts towards daunting tasks seen as impossible. Humans have evolved and grown from like apes roaming the jungles and all that shit to spacefaring transcontinental super beings of sorts who have almost entirely subjugated the planet they're residing on. Think of that. Just think about how incredibly dominant humans have been over the past couple hundred years. How much of a fucking strong arm they've had over nearly every goddamn thing living on the planet. And then, for a moment, think of how much power humans will have over other planets once they arrive on them. I don't know about you, but I'm reluctant to think anything like aliens from the films exist or anywhere close enough to us to be of any concern. So it's just us and the planets. But in this whole process, people are going to fuck up badly. Ships are going to eat shit and blow up. Astronauts are going to die. Settlers, or the Mars colonists, whenever they get on, are going to make a mistake, just one small mistake, and get people killed and dead, just like that. But regardless, people will still find a way. The Challenger rocket, for instance, exploded and killed all 7 astronauts within. But despite this, NASA and other space agencies are still going. Mistakes are made, lives were lost, and new opportunities for growth and improvement were opened. I talked about being afraid or avoiding failure in my last video, but another similar topic is that of the reaction to failure itself. That being a mostly negative, vile thing that needs to be avoided and feared at all costs. This sounds extreme, but then again, look at like students or something. After they get like a shitty grade on a test, they just blow the fuck up. Sometimes they start crying, they start yelling, it just short circuits them. Now this is for more than just like one reason, but what I'm going to cover is I think is the most important part is the identity part of the equation, the identity part that contributed to him blowing the fuck up and blowing a fuse in class. More often than not, when you like fail at something or really do poorly, when you eat shit, your identity will lean in, so it'll kind of take a portion of it to soften the blow. Like you see that in schools, where after like, a couple shitty tests or something, the kid will just say they're bad at math. You get like a 40, you fail. You get like a 51, you just barely pass. You get like a 39, you fail again. Yeah, I'm just bad at math, guys. That's cope. That is coping. And it's a cope that comes at the cost of that kid's identity, because each and every instance he does that, he's making himself believe he's bad at math. Every single time. Every time we negatively reinforce the identity hit we take from failing, it reinforces the fact that we suck at it, or the inner thought that we suck at it, and the idea is further cemented into us. It becomes a part of you to be bad at math, and you may not reference it later, but it might even just come up in conversation later. You'll see people just say, "Oh, sorry, I'm bad at math." Are you really? Or did you fail one too many times, and did that just become a part of you? That idea, that concept, is where the insult, the loser insult, came from. It's the idea of someone who's lost or failed or ate shit so much to where they made it a part of their identity. It became a part of them. They lost. They lose. They don't win. They lose. Think of like boxer Conor McGregor. He plays up a character of being the king shit, right? But he lost against Khabib once, sometime, I don't know. But that loss didn't become a part of his identity. It didn't become him, nor did he let it define him. And afterwards, he still played his act of being king shit, despite having lost. Does the loss make him a loser? Or is it the identity that made him a loser? Is he a loser? I would argue no. The loser, in this case, can still win. He could still beat Khabib. but will still be perceived as a loser or feel he's a loser because he thinks that of himself. He is a loser because he is a loser to him. This happens as a direct result of his failures or inadequacies that contributed to the making of his identity in that way. People aren't born losers, and to think so is to ignore and disregard almost what turns people into losers. The loser sees his loss as an inadequacy, that he's not good enough, that winning isn't part of him, rather than an opportunity to grow into the person who will win, or who will succeed, or who will not fail. Every failure we experience, every time we eat shit and suck ass, is another opportunity for introspection, to look inwards at what we could do to improve, and to grow from that introspection, to do things differently, to improve, to ameliorate, or be better. Every test you fail, so every time you fucking eat shit at math, it's another instance of the world telling you, the wider world, telling you you could be more than you are. That 65 you got in the math, you wanted a 90, is telling you you could be more. That just, you could be more. You could be more than you currently are. You can learn more. You could perfect more than you currently can. Now, say you fail this test, you can look down on yourself after that. I'm not really opposed to that. But what's important is to really be cautious of this, is to avoid the failure becoming a part of your identity. That fucking happens so much. But you do not let the perceived inadequacy or the not being good enough become who you are, because that limits who you could be, because you will just identify with that thought. Now, a lot of people don't get this message, or they don't come to this conclusion, and it's like, no wonder you fucking suck ass at math if you're gonna be this much of a bitch about it. That's what it is, bitching and moaning that I suck at math. Ugh, I'm a loser. And instead of that, grow the fuck up and let your mistakes make you better. It's all part of the growth mindset that they teach kids about in schools, but they don't do a good job of this. They don't teach them why it's important. Now, people say your failures don't define you, but like online, they'll say it a lot. You are not your failures, all that. But fuck that. Your failures can define you if you let them. So don't. Give these experiences what they're worth, and leave it at that. Grow from them, and just leave it at that. Because the consequence of not doing so is always so much more than we think. It's just never worth it.